Hello everyone, I am Alyssa from the Capacity Building team here at Action on Disability within Ethnic Communities, or ADEC for short. ADEC is a Melbourne-based not-for-profit organisation who assists people with disabilities from non-English speaking backgrounds. Now this video is part of our Staying Connected video series, and the topic of this video will be domestic and family violence. So why is it important to be discussing domestic violence? Well, domestic violence has been a societal issue for generations, which has received little attention and support, as many see this topic as a taboo and not to be discussed. But the scary reality is that one woman in Australia dies every week at the hands of a current or former partner. And 1 in 4 women experience some sort of abuse from a current or former partner. As we can see from the statistics, domestic violence affects many people and can have many lifelong impacts. Domestic violence affects people from all backgrounds, socioeconomic statuses and ages. However, the research does show that the primary victims are women and children, and the primary perpetrators are men. What is domestic and family violence? Domestic violence is not just physical abuse. In fact, it can include many other less overt forms of abuse. We define domestic violence as an act which can make another feel fearful, unsafe, and powerless. This can appear as physical, sexual, psychological, emotional, verbal, or financial abuse. Domestic violence can occur between current or former intimate partners, family members, or people we live with. And domestic violence is not necessarily confined to the family home, but can happen in other environments. Why do we need to talk about domestic and family violence? As I mentioned before, domestic violence has been a long-standing issue in our society. However, in times such as crisis and emergency, family violence and domestic violence can in fact become much more frequent or severe. And currently, in the COVID-19 pandemic, many of our local domestic violence and family violence support centres are prepping for a huge increase of family violence and domestic violence. With the current COVID-19 situation, this is creating much more stress from job losses, financial pressures, and health worries, and this can increase the risk of domestic violence. But let it be clear that stress and other factors are not an excuse for domestic violence. You do not need to accept this abusive behaviour, and there is never an excuse for abuse. For those who are victims of family violence and domestic violence, being at home is not safe. Therefore, the current social isolation measures can make some situations worse, and they may feel that they should remain in their home with their abuser. However, all people are entitled to feel safe and entitled to seek safety and support. Despite the government's COVID-19 restrictions, all family violence and domestic violence supports are still available. So what can we do about it? Now more so than ever, it is very important that we remain connected with those around us, whether that be texting, calling, emailing, or even sending letters, whatever works best for you. Those of us who are able to, we need to reach out to those who are vulnerable and reconnect with those who we may have drifted from. For those who are victims, there are still many options out there to assist you. If maybe you have decided to leave the abusive relationship, it is important to think of a safety plan to be able to protect yourself as much as possible. You can talk to domestic violence crisis centres and get their assistance to establish a safety plan. Now I'll just mention a few contacts to keep in mind. First and foremost, if you are ever in immediate danger, always call 000. There is also 1-800-RESPECT. This is a 24/7 domestic violence hotline which can offer counselling and referrals for further support for victims. There is Safe Steps, which is a family violence response centre which can support you to protect yourself and make a safety plan. There is Lifeline, which is a 24/7 personal crisis support telephone line. Men's Line is a 24/7 telephone counselling line for men with emotional, behavioural or relationship concerns. And there's also a web page called askizzy.org.au which can filter local supports in your area. For example, if you were needing domestic violence support in your local area, but maybe you're from a non-English speaking background, you would be able to filter supports as such and find ones which are suitable for you. But I must stress, in this difficult environment and difficult time for many of us, it is important more so than ever that we stay connected with each other and support one another. If you want any more information on this topic or any other videos, please reach out to us on 03 9480 7000 or email us at info@adec.org.au.